First of all, I'm going to always give Steve Ballmer the benefit of the doubt. I think that he's a treasure for the NBA. I'm certainly going to give this man the benefit of the doubt because he's done a lot for the league, and I think he's a good man. And until we find otherwise, he deserves the benefit of the doubt. That's the Kawhi Leonard I know. He is the worst superstar I have ever seen in sports.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Kawhi getting paid for a no-show job isn't hilarious and on brand for him, even with his legitimate injuries, but Stephen A. Smith's take on this is awful. Well, really, ESPN's coverage of this story. I guess that shouldn't be surprising. Stephen A.'s take on Steve Ballmer circumventing the salary cap to gain an unfair advantage is basically, well, I like Steve Ballmer, he's a good dude, me and him are friends, he deserves a pass.
I think that Steve Ballmer is a treasure to the league. He's one of the owners that is beloved by a lot of people, and I think that he deserves the benefit of the doubt. I spoke to Steve Ballmer last night for a second, and he's pretty hurt.
But Kawhi Leonard, I hate him. He's a terrible person, worst player ever, so he should get all the blame.
The biggest focal point for all of this should be Kawhi Leonard. He has spent years doing absolutely, positively nothing. He is the worst superstar I have ever seen in sports.
The way he's talking, I think Stephen A. has an under-the-table deal with Ballmer. Now, Kawhi does deserve part of the blame, especially with his Uncle Dennis asking the Raptors for the same type of deal, but Stephen A. said the only reason this story has credibility is because it's Kawhi getting paid for no reason. He even said if it were any other player, the story would be thrown out.
Somebody else, something like this would be thrown to the wolves. Nobody would ever think of it.
No way. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up.
We have a league with Jonte Porter, and you think the only player that would take an under-the-table deal is Kawhi Leonard? No. The reason the story has credibility is because Pablo Torre looked into a fraud company that had Kawhi getting paid more than anyone else. He then found that Kawhi didn't honor anything in his endorsement deal with the company.
He did nothing!
And that the contract made it so he didn't have to. Hell, the employees of the company came out and said it was done to circumvent the cap.
A marketing deal with Kawhi Leonard, and that if I had any questions about it, essentially don't, because it was to circumvent the salary cap. LOL. I'm honestly so jealous.
Oh, for sure.
But nah, it's just because Kawhi's a lazy bitch. And let's not forget, the only stipulation that ended the endorsement was if Kawhi left the Clippers.
This termination, and it's a termination for cause. If Leonard is no longer an employee of the team for any reason, and the team, capital T, is defined as the Clippers.
Yes.
That's what makes the entire thing extremely obvious. But Stephen A. ignores all of that and says the only reason it's believable is because Kawhi's a douchebag who sits out games.
So when I saw this report and it said money for doing nothing, I said, that's what made me pause. Not because of Steve Ballmer, not because of the Clippers, because of him. I guarantee you that's probably one of the top two reasons the NBA is investigating this.
Then ESPN interviews Ballmer, who claims he had nothing to do with it and has no clue what's going on.
I don't know how much money they gave him. I haven't seen him and I don't know. I'm not trying to be, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know why they did what they did, and I don't know how different it is. I really don't. Look, they conned me.
He then said there's no way cap circumvention took place because Kawhi Leonard had already signed his contract and he already had a deal with Aspiration. Well, that's the funny part about an under-the-table deal. There's no time limit. Just because Kawhi is under contract doesn't make it impossible for him to later get an endorsement where he doesn't have to do anything. The main point of this story is Steve Ballmer cheated, plain and simple. ESPN is framing this like Steve Ballmer didn't do anything wrong and this is just Kawhi being Kawhi. They're acting like Kawhi gave himself $28 million. And on top of that, they let him play victim in his interview.
I don't know how much money they gave him. Look, they conned me.
You would have never seen coverage like this when the Timberwolves did it. Adding Uncle Dennis to the mix does put more blame on Kawhi than it originally would have, but giving Steve Ballmer a pass when he's the one that made the deal, he's the one that gave Kawhi the connection, and he's the one that cheated going around the NBA salary cap is crazy.
SpongeBob, what happened?
Plankton cheated.
Cheated? Hold on there, Baldy. Oh, grow up. What, you think this is a game of kickball on the playground? You never had a chance to defeat me, fool! And you know why?
Because you cheated?
No, not because I cheated, because I'm an evil genius.